dysfunctional vet here. This is a review of the RPS Solar off-grid water pump using solar panels. In front of you right here, what you're seeing is a 2-inch barrel of a submersible pump. This is the power cord coming off here. Up here are 2 little eyelets, and Daisy's getting in the picture. Daisy's the dog with the puppies, as you could easily see. This pump came in the box. This pump came in the box, and it ran for about 2 minutes, if that long, and I noticed a sheen of oil on top of my tank. This was completely submerged at the time, but I noticed a sheen of oil on top of the pump, on top of the water, and it no longer worked. I contacted RPS customer service or sales, and I had a new pump in about 3 or 4 days. I'm not sure, it wasn't very long. And as I say, this pump is frozen and won't run. I think I still have the video, and I'll show you what it looked like if I have it. I may have deleted it. A lot of times I'll send videos or links to videos for somebody on YouTube, and then I immediately delete them as soon as the issue is resolved. But if I have it, I'll show you what that looked like. Now let's discuss the rest of the system. The control box right here shows 2 green lights. The top one is power. The bottom green light that just went off says that the pump was running, but really it wasn't. And then we have this, let me get into the frame. Got this orange light right here which says low power. The sun is not over the trees yet, so granted, yes, there's not enough energy. The flashing light just reset everything, saying it's ready to start trying to pump again. This panel is really good. Right over here is a power switch, comes on and off, so you can set it to panels or you can set it to batteries. Now this is a true MPPT, or maximum power point tracking system, and when you have good sunlight on your panels, it will try to charge the batteries if you have the battery option on. I do not at this time. I'm planning to get batteries, but I haven't got that far yet. Okay, so we have this system up and running. It's absolutely fabulous. Yesterday I troubleshot why the low water sensor wasn't coming on, and if you remember in that episode, I explained that I put all this together and then I became intensely ill, was briefly hospitalized, and it was 8 weeks, at least 8 weeks, from when I became ill to when I got back and started actually trying to do something. And I'm not sure exactly how long it was before I sank the pump into the well and got it in. A spider had built a nest inside the tube, which I'll show you in just a minute what it looks like, and I cleaned that out with a screwdriver to break it up, and then a pipe cleaner, as in like a pipe cleaner. Some people use them for art, some people use them for cleaning their smoking pipe, but I used a pipe cleaner to clean all that stuff out, put it back into service, and it worked fine. The system that we have here, this system, is basically a plug and play. Everything just works exactly like it's supposed to. No issues, no problems. It's got 4 screws at the top up here, and down at the bottom there's 2 screws that hold this face on, and it's got a rubber seal, so it is weather tight. On the back it has a real good heat sink to dissipate heat, and the construction is very solid. This thing is going to last probably 100 years or better. Let me show you how I'm measuring my water flow, and then we'll move to the next step. What you're seeing is a system that I actually built. This is going to go on the domestic water. I am not off grid. got city water, city electricity, city everything. City trash pickup for a fee. Got it all out here. I'm not off grid. This, here we go. This black line is coming from the pump and it's going into a 1/2 inch union which doesn't have any Teflon tape on it, so it leaks right here. This is a filter to get particulate matter. This is a 3-way switch, and the reason for having that 3-way switch is so that I can hook up a hose on this. Again, this is going to be on the domestic water. This is not going to be on the pump side. But I can hook up a hose right here and I'll have water for any kind of purpose I need, like washing the car or something. And then I have this water meter right here. And this water meter, it's DAE is the company that makes it. I don't remember what they cost, but you can find them on Amazon by just typing in water meter. I have at least 3 of these, maybe 4. I think I have a spare, so it'd be 4. But this is measuring the water that's flowing from the pump, and this is in part how I was able to figure out that I had a problem with the low water shutoff sensor. I could see that there wasn't any water flowing because the water wasn't turbulent here, because I've got an air bubble, and my meter stopped turning. So that told me I had a problem. So this little setup was worth the trouble to build. I'm going to go ahead and explain what this is. Where I'm at, my utilities are included to live here, except electricity. I have to pay that. But the water comes from the city. Well, actually it comes from a vendor that's contracted with the city. And I used way too much water when I was gardening last year. And so I now have to monitor how much water I'm using. This is going to be hooked into the domestic line for what I'm using, and then what I'll do is I'll end up paying at the end of the month how much water that I used on my garden and how much water I'm using in my house, because that's all going to be taken care of that way. So that's what this was built for. But I'm using it right now just on the well because I haven't yet tapped into the water line that I'm using. My water line branches off of the main residence here. So this is this setup that you see. The union, which connects to that comes from the pump, filter, 3-way valve, so that when I'm on city water I can actually use this for like washing a car or something. And then this will measure how much water I'm using for gardening and everything else. Granted, this 3-way should be on this side, seeing as how I might be washing a car and stuff, but that's not going to be like thousands of gallons, so I'm not worried about that. As you can see, with proper sunlight, the pump begins to run. Now, I've been running this thing for several days now, a lot of days, and we are sitting at 126 gallons that's been pumped total. The pump speed is turned down pretty low. It's only going to move about maybe 9-10 gallons, and then it's going to shut off. And that is what's called drawdown. The water coming through the aquifer can only move so much based on its density, permutation. It can only move so quickly through the aquifer to recharge the rate. So we'll let this run for just a few minutes and we'll see if we get a full 10 gallons. We started at 126, we're now at 127. And as you can see, the numbers are moving very slowly because the pump has been turned way down. One note on the pump is a variable frequency, variable phase and frequency pump, which means it operates at the speed that it's adjusted to. And in this case, what we're trying to do is get it to operate at the speed at which the downhole aquifer is recharging. So we'll come back to this in a minute. We're now at 128.2. We're at 134, and as you can see, the water is pretty much stopped. The well low light sensor has come on, and that's what we're going to get out of this. As you can see, the low water sensor has come on. We're at 134 gallons, so we got 8 gallons instead of 10, but that's okay. And let's go look at the low water sensor and see why that spider web caused a problem when it bridged between the two pieces of the sensor. Here is the low water sensor. As you can see, there's a center pin and an outer pin here. Power is applied to this, and it measures to see what how much resistance there is between this open gap of air, which is an insulator, and the tube here. And when water gets in there, because of the mineral content, the electricity flows and it detects there's a fault, so it shuts down. This is a very simple thing. Now, this was inside a plastic tube. I had to open it to show it to you, and I'm going to put it back inside here, and I'm going to put it inside a Ziploc bag to keep any kind of critter from making a nest in there. But this is just as simple as it gets, and this is the same sensor that's downhole. Now, the sensors for the tank full and the tank low, the water level in the well low and the tank full, they're the same sensor, just wired differently, measuring the resistance between the outer tube and the inner tube. Let's go back and let's start. This is the pump that I started out this video with. That right there is my well. Now, my well produces very little water, which is fine. It only has to produce enough to keep me and the dogs, that's us, whenever I say we, it's me and the dogs, supplied with water in the off event that the grid out here fails and the water pumps are not providing water. The pump is a variable phase and frequency, which means that it can produce water very quickly or it can produce it slowly. I'm in the process of trying to tweak it in so it produces water at the rate at which it's recharging, and I'm going to do a video on drawdown, and it will be called pump, or it will be called well drawdown. And so Daisy wants out. She's in there with the puppies. The well is here. The well has a pitless adapter, so the water is underground. It's not going to freeze. It has two gland packings that run the power to the well as the low water sensor. I did a video on that, link in the description when I had to troubleshoot it. How would I rate this pump? I would give it 5 stars. I would tell anyone who needs dependable water and they can't depend on the grid, like where I'm at, where it goes off, I'd tell them to jump on this pump. It's RPS Solar. I am not being paid for this endorsement. I'm just telling you this is a good product. It will produce what it's supposed to. This is the mechanism that pumps the water. Right up here is the actual pump mechanism. And their website says that if the top piece ever wears out, they'll replace that for free. And I'm under the opinion that it's going to last for many, many years. It's an Archimedes type pump. If you don't know what that is, you can look that up. I have nothing but good things to say about this pump. I have nothing but good things to say about the customer service. They have been just absolutely fabulous. The employees there are beyond amazing, and the products they offer, deliver. It's basically a plug and play. I want to give this a 5-star review on the RPS pump. Dysfunctional vet out.